When a man begins to grow in priesthood, and this is not what you desire, this is what you grow into, what happens to you is called spiritual partnership. The reason spiritual partnership is possible is because the Bible said God is the God of the living and not the God of the dead. That means in the realm of God, men don't die. Hear this and follow carefully. In the realm of God, men don't what? Die. The Sadducees and the Pharisees came to Jesus arguing, and they gave him a parable of a man that got married to a woman, and he died, and he had 6 other brothers, and the woman was given to each of them, but all of them died because of their wickedness. And they asked Jesus that at the resurrection, whose wife is that woman? And Jesus said to them, men at the resurrection are like the angels. They neither marry nor are given in marriage. And he went further to tell them something. He said, God is the God of the living and not the dead. That means in the realm of God, men don't die. So what happens to you in priesthood is that when you begin to ascend in priesthood, you are brought into the company of the spirit of just men made perfect. So these men have only shifted dimensions. They are not dead. In the realm of God, they are still alive. And so what happens in priesthood is this. You activate Eden. Eden, this is the technology of Eden. The technology of Eden is such that heaven and earth is one. So when you come into Eden, you are not on earth and you are not in heaven. The realms are connected in Eden. So the things that happen in heaven can happen in Eden. And the things that happen on earth can happen in Eden. So when Eden was withdrawn, the only Eden that is available now is the altar. That is why spirits meet with men on the altar. The first place God designed for spirit to meet with man is called Eden. That's why God met Adam in Eden. But when Eden was withdrawn, God needed to continually meet men. So the mobile Eden that God created is called the altar. So when a man begins to engage God on the altar, it's not a religious activity. What he wants to create is to recreate Eden. And if he's able to create Eden on the altar, the first thing that happens is that the beings that have gone to heaven, who are now spirits, can connect with him on that altar. So when a man begins to engage priesthood, he ceases to live on earth. He begins to live in Eden. So something happens to that man. He can go to the place of prayer, and suddenly Elijah can be talking to him. And when that man comes out, the man will come out with the spirit of Elijah. When you look at that man and you think this is still Paul, you have made a mistake. Because that man is no longer Paul. That man can clothe himself with Elijah. So when that man talks, the same things that Elijah commanded in his day, he can command it now. Because in priesthood, partnership beyond men is activated. When a man begins to engage the altar, a point will come, he will encounter Paul. Because these men have become spirits of just men made perfect. So when that man come out, you may say he never went to a university, but something will be at work in him. The spirit of wisdom and revelation that worked in the life of Paul, the man will enter into it. And so when that man is talking, he's not talking as a boy of 10 years. He's not talking as an ancient patriarch, because the spirit of Paul will be flowing through that man. That's why when you look at people and they are operating in the spirit, you ask them, how old are you? Your question is wrong, because the question is not how old are you. The question is, where have you been to? Because if I have met Paul, my age is no longer a factor. When I talk, I can talk by Paul. When I talk, I can talk by Isaiah. So in priesthood, what happens? There is spiritual connectivity. So one man can become many men. Have you not seen us ministering in a service? At a point in the service, you are a teacher. At another point in that same service, you are a warrior. At another point in that same service, you are a prophet. What is happening? The men you have met in the spirit, when you are ministering, they begin to come to you, because your priesthood has opened the radar. So at some point in the service, Elijah can walk in. And when Elijah comes in, you become a warrior. And at another point, Paul walks in. When Paul walks in, you become a revelator. At another point, Isaiah walks in and you become a prophet, because priesthood have made you many men in one man. Priesthood will make you carry many spirits in one spirit, because Eden is at work. We are not ordinary men. The only problem is that our advantage is not on earth. That's why when we tell men to pray, we are calling them up. Come up, Peter. Come up. There are warriors waiting for you. There are mighty men waiting for you. You are not disadvantaged. You have not just met your true friends. I know all your friends are Kenyans. That's why you are where you are. It's time for you to make heavenly friends. Because Paul is still making friends. Isaiah is still making friends. Elijah is still making friends. Enoch is still making friends. Can you come to the realm of Enoch? Did you not read about Jesus? In Luke chapter 9, verse 28 and 29, he said, as he prayed, the fashion of his countenance was altered. So he entered their dimension. And he said, suddenly there appeared unto him Moses and Elijah, and they were telling him what he would do. When Jesus comes out of there, you will see one man, but he is the representation of the law and the prophets. You have too much advantage to be defeated. The problem is that you have not traveled. You have not traveled. Some of you here, captured in your destiny is partnership. Partnership with Enoch, partnership with Moses, partnership with Elijah, but you are still doing ministry as a single man. That's why you are defeated. Come on, Peter. That's what priesthood demands. Because if Enoch join your team, if Moses join your team, if Elijah join your team, you can come to a place, man will look at you as a boy. You will laugh at them. Because when you begin to talk, and the dimension of Elijah shows up, even their grandfather, you become older than him. Listen, hear me. You can fight anybody, but don't fight an intercessor. Don't try it. You know why? When Elijah comes, he will not obey the laws of Kenya. When Elijah comes, Elijah will come with his civilization and his age. The laws that work at his dispensation, that's what he will come with, because he will bring his realm. And so when you insult or fight that man, Elijah can kill you. In the New Testament dispensation, we don't call down fire, but in the dispensation of Elijah, they still call down fire. So when Elijah comes, Elijah is not in the New Testament. Elijah is in the Old Testament. So you may attack him and you think he's a believer and he can do nothing. But Elijah is part of his company, and Elijah can still call down fire. That's why people die when they don't discern the lost body. Because they will look at you, they will think you are a weak Christian. I'm not. Because when a man shows up, he comes with his age. Did you not read? He said, until the time of John. So if John comes, he will come with his time. And then in this generation, Christians may not be able to curse, but in the dispensation of Elijah, they curse. So if Elijah is part of your company, if somebody insults you, you can say, I forgive you. Elisha will not forgive him. Elisha can tell him, a lion will come out and destroy you, and the person will be destroyed. The reason is because in priesthood, there is interconnection. So one man fights with the strength of many. That's why when we come out with boldness. When you try me, I don't need to say anything. I go back to my altar. Kakatoa, Ragapata, Zeze, Adetetia, Susaka, Parakado, Sua, Tatate, Eriado, Menekada. And hear me, brothers. Sometimes you don't come out with men. Sometimes you come out with seraphims. And they are called the burning ones. Did you read about Angel Gabriel? When he appeared to Zacharias, he said, I am Gabriel that standeth in the presence. I brought you this glad tidings and you doubt me. He said, therefore you will be dumb. This is why you cannot define a believer by face value. You may be looking at a man wearing suit, and then you came with a soldier and you think you can subdue him. If you know what that man carries, you'll be afraid. When the army of Syria came to attack Elisha, Gehazi was afraid and said, oh, we are besieged. Elisha laughed. He said, we have more on our side. That's a priest. We have more on our side. And what did he say? Gehazi was afraid. He now said, Lord, open his eyes that he may see. And suddenly, when his eyes opened, he saw that there were angels on chariots on all the mountains round about. We are not alone. When the Katoza, Heros, you come for this meeting they say take attendance and you are counting human heads, you will be 1,000 times wrong. Because you think only those you are seeing here in this meeting, you are not aware. You have not discerned the meeting. Some people came here with 12 angels. Some people came here with 30 angels. Some people came here with 100 angels. Some people came here with ancient patriarchs. We are not alone. We are not alone. That's why you can't take attendance in a meeting. When you start taking attendance, you limit the stature of that congregation. Our congregation is beyond men. We are a congregation of men, spirit of judgment made perfect, angels, seraphims, and cherubims. So river flow, let it know, river flow in your church once again. Let eternity be seen. River flow, let it know, river flow in your church once again. Let eternity be seen. 1:15 a.m. in the morning. After I finished with immigration, they took me around 3 a.m. and I saw a lot of people gather. And I said, no, they don't need to stress themselves. I said, Dr. Joyce, you'd have come alone. And I told the Lord, why do they have to stress themselves? I saw very senior ministers. And the Lord said, they didn't honor you. They honored your entourage. You didn't come alone. The Lord told me, Elijah came with you. He said Gideon came with you. So when I was ministering on the first night, I told you, I come in the spirit of Elijah and I set you on fire. I was speaking from a mantle. I told you, I come in the spirit of Gideon and I summon you because I know I didn't come alone. So the men didn't come to honor me. I'm too young to be honored like that. I'm a young boy. How can men of 40, 50, 60 be kneeling down before me? I didn't come alone. So when I was doing business on the altar, I was entering into partnerships in the spirit. When you begin to enter those partnerships, a day will come, you will go to where 1,000 people are looking for job. You will just drop your certificate. But you will drop your certificate with Esther. And the same favor that made the king choose Esther, they will have no choice but to pick you.